Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to learn about manufacturing industries. Manufacturing industries. This is grade 10 geography chapter 5 manufacturing industries. Let us start our learning today. So manufacturing industries is a geography chapter 5 as I mentioned. So first let us learn about what is the importance of manufacturing industries. The manufacturing sector means making of the things is called manufacturing sector. So manufacturing sector in any country is considered as the backbone of development. Why it is considered as the backbone of development means the manufacturing industries help in modernizing agriculture, as it also provides jobs in secondary and tertiary sector. So manufacturing industries have a key role to play in a country's development. They not only improve or help in modernizing the agriculture, but they also give opportunities like jobs in secondary and tertiary sector. And coming to the second point, it helps in the eradication or the reduction of unemployment and poverty. Because it gives job opportunities, automatically the unemployment levels will fall down and it reduces the poverty in the country. Moving to the third one, the exports of manufactured goods expand trade and commerce, and it also brings to the country the foreign exchange. Because the trade is expanding beyond the country, because the goods are produced, then it will also bring the foreign exchange into the country, and it helps in prospering the country by giving a boost to the country's economy. So contribution of the industry to the national economy, the recent trends have shown a very good growth rate for the manufacturing over the last decade is nearly 7% per annum. So manufacturing industries are very important. Why are they important? Because the manufacturing sector is considered as the backbone industry or backbone of any country's development. Why is manufacturing sector considered as a backbone sector or a backbone of a country? Because it helps in modernizing agriculture, it provides employment opportunities in secondary and tertiary sector, it helps in giving jobs and reduction in unemployment and reducing poverty. It also brings foreign exchange to the country. So due to all these things, it acts as a booster to the country's economy, and in the recent years or in the past decade, the growth of the industrial sector has been 7% per annum. That is the reason why the manufacturing industries or manufacturing sector is considered as a very important aspect or backbone of the country. Industrial location. Any industry, if it has to be located, there are certain factors which influence the location of an industry. What are the factors that influence a particular industry to be located in a particular place? What are the factors that will be considered to establish an industry? You can see here, first is the availability of raw material. Second, it is labor. Third, it is capital. Fourth, it is power. 5, the market. 6, the government policies. So raw materials have to be available in the close by distance. First reason for establishing a factory or an industry is the raw material has to be available at a very close distance. Next, there should be skilled and semi-skilled labor should be available for the factory from the nearby villages or nearby regions. We need raw material, we need skilled and semi-skilled labor. Now, apart from these, we need capital. The capital is again categorized into working capital and physical capital. Working capital is the investments what they do, and physical capital the machinery what they buy. Coming to power, power is playing a very crucial role nowadays, because any industry, if it has to run, we need electricity. The electricity should be uninterrupted, and it has to be supplied 24 by 7 at very less or minimal cost. And coming to the next one, that is market. The markets should be close by, so that they can take the finished products to the market. And top of all these things, the most important factor is the government policies. What are the benefits that the government is giving for a company to establish its unit in a particular place? So like this, there are 6 main factors which influence the location of an industry. They are raw materials, labor, capital, power, electricity, market, and the government policies. Manufacturing activity tends to locate at the most appropriate place where all the above factors of industrial location either available or can be arranged at a lower cost, minimal cost. So what is the major criteria and what are the factors is we discuss now. So any unit they want to establish, they either check where all the factors are available, or they check where they can be arranged at a lower cost. That's how they decide where the industry has to be located. Agro-based industries. Agro-based industries means we have the industries who get their raw materials from the agricultural sector. That kind of industries are called as agro-based industries. The industries which depend on the agriculture or the agro sector for getting their raw materials, that industries are called agro-based industries. Examples: cotton, jute, silk, woolen, sugar, edible oils. Industries which are based on the agricultural raw materials. Let us learn about textile industry and cotton textiles. As you can see here, textile industry is the only industry in India which is self-reliant and is able to complete in a value chain. That is, the raw materials are bought and it is made with the highest valuable product. The raw materials are brought from the agricultural fields and they are made as the most valuable products. That chain is completely completed there. That's why it is called self-reliant industry. Which industry is a self-reliant industry? Textile industry is the only industry in our country which is a self-reliant industry. Why? Because they get the raw material and from the raw material they convert that into highest valuable added products. So here it means it contributes to the industrial production, employment, generation and foreign exchange earnings. So these are the benefits of this. So let us look at the cotton textile industry now. The industry which has close links with agriculture and provides a living to the farmers is the cotton ball pluckers and workers engaged in ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, packing, tailoring and sewing. So these many activities, it provides employment opportunities. It also supports many other industries such as chemicals, dyes, packing material and engineering works. So the cotton textiles are giving opportunities for the farmers and for cotton ball pluckers and the workers who are engaged in ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, packing, tailoring, and sewing it. They also help the other industries for chemical industry, dyes industry, packing material and engineering works. That is the contribution of the cotton textile industry. Coming to the jute textile industries. India is the largest producer of raw jute and the jute goods. So most of the mills in our country are located in West Bengal, mainly along the banks of river Hooghly. Mainly they are located along the banks of river Hooghly. So India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods. Moving to the next agro-based industry, that is sugar industry. So India stands second as a world producer of sugar, and it occupies first place in the production of gur or kansari. So it is producing highest amounts of sugar, and this industry is seasonal in nature. So we discussed the agro-based industries of cotton textiles, jute textiles, and sugar industry. Now we are going to discuss about the mineral-based industries. What are mineral-based industries? The industries that use minerals and metals as raw materials are called as mineral-based industries. These industries depend on minerals. That's why they are called mineral-based industries. Example, iron and steel industry. The example for mineral-based industry is iron and steel industry. So iron and steel is a basic industry, as all the other industries, heavy, medium, light, depend on it for their machinery. So among all the mineral-based industries, the most important industry is iron and steel industry. Why iron and steel industry is considered as a very important or backbone industry? Because all the other industries, it might be heavy, it might be medium, it might be light, all these depend on the iron and steel industry for their machinery. It is considered as a heavy industry because all the raw materials as well as finished goods are heavy and bulky and entailing heavy transportation costs. They have heavy transportation cost to transport the finished goods of iron and steel industry, because they make a lot of machines. They use the iron rods for construction activity. So iron is used in many industries as well as the steel. And now the high cost and limited availability of coking coal are making it not able to perform to its full potential. So what are the problems that they are facing in the iron and steel industry? One is high cost of coking coal, low production of labor, productivity of the labor, then irregular supply of energy, electricity, and poor infrastructure. These are the factors which are not allowing the iron and steel industry to produce or to perform on its full potential level. It is the factors are low availability or high cost and less limited availability of coking coal, low productivity of labor, irregular supply of energy, and poor infrastructure. So these are the factors which are limiting the production of iron and steel industry. Aluminium smelting. Aluminium smelting is the second most important metallurgical industry in India. It is used to manufacture the aircrafts, utensils, wires, etc. And bauxite is the raw material used in smelting. So aluminium smelting is the second important industry in the mineral-based industries. First is the iron and steel industry. Second is the aluminium smelting industry. So here it is used in making aircrafts, utensils, wires, and bauxite is the major raw material for smelters. Aluminium smelting has gained popularity as a substitute for steel copper, zinc, and lead in number of industries. So the major substitute for steel, copper, zinc, and lead is aluminum. That's why it is very famous. Why? Because it exhibits light in weight. The characteristics of light in weight. It is resistant to corrosion and a good conductor of heat, malleable, and becomes strong when it's mixed with other metals. One, the aluminum is light in weight. Two, it is having resistance to change its form. It is stiff, good conductor of heat. So it is a good conductor of heat, so it does not get spoiled, not get burned completely. And malleable. Malleable means we can change the form and it becomes stronger when it's mixed with other metals. That is another important feature. So these particular properties makes aluminum a good substitute for steel, copper, zinc, and lead. Now moving to the chemical industries. Chemical industry comprises of both large industries and small scale manufacturing units. Nowadays, there is a rapid growth in the both inorganic and organic sectors. Organic chemicals are like sulfur, nitric acid, alkalis, soda ash, and caustic soda. When it comes to the organic chemicals, it is the petrochemicals which are used for manufacturing synthetic fiber, synthetic rubber, plastics, dye stuff, drugs, and pharmaceuticals. So the chemical industries are also gaining rapid growth, which has recorded in the recent years, both in organic and also in the inorganic sectors. Fertilizer industry. Fertilizer industries are centered around the production of nitrogenous fertilizers, mainly urea. Mainly it is focused around the urea, phosphatic fertilizers and ammonium phosphate, and complex fertilizers which have a combination of nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, which is found in Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala, contribute towards half of the fertilizer production. So fertilizer industries are producing mainly around nitrogenous fertilizers, and they are located in the states of Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala, and these are the states which contribute towards half of the fertilizer production in the entire country. Coming to the cement industry. The cement is the most essential unit or the most important industry for the construction activity in our country, because cement is essential for construction activities such as buildings, houses, factories, bridges, roads, airports, dams, or any other commercial establishments. This industry, cement industry, requires bulky and heavy raw materials like limestone, silica, and gypsum. So cement industry is another important industry for construction activities like houses, factories, roads, and airports, dams, etc. So what are the raw materials that are required for cement industry are like limestone, silica, and gypsum. Coming to the automobile industry. Automobile industry deals with manufacturing of trucks, buses, cars, motorcycles, scooters, three-wheelers, and multi-utility vehicles. So automobile industry means the industry is a combination of the manufacturers of trucks, buses, cars, motorcycles, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and multi-utility vehicles. So these industries are located around Delhi, Gurgaon, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, Indore, Hyderabad, Jamshedpur, and Bengaluru. These are the places where the automobile industry is located. Information technology and electronics industry. This is the most dominating industry in the service sector. So the electronics industry covers a wide range of products from transistors, sets to televisions, telephones, cellular phones, telephone exchange, radars, computers, and many other equipments that the telecommunication industry is having or needed. So this industry generates a huge employment opportunities in India, especially Bengaluru is considered as the electronic capital of India, and it is also known as the Silicon Plateau of the world. So the information and technology industry is providing a lot of employment opportunities for people in India as well as in the world today. Coming to industrial pollution and environmental degradation. Industries are getting polluted in 4 different types. 1. Air. 2. Water. 3. Land. 4. Noise. Air pollution is caused by the presence of high proportions of undesirable gases like sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, smoke that is emitted by the factories, vehicles, brick kilns, refineries, smelting plants, burning of fossil fuels leads to polluting the air. And this air pollution is affecting not only the humans, animals, plants, buildings, and the entire atmosphere is getting polluted. So air pollution is caused by the presence of high proportion of sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and also causing lot of adverse effects on the health, human health, animal health, plants, buildings, and the atmosphere as a whole. Coming to water pollution. Water is caused by organic and inorganic industrial wastes which are getting discharged into the rivers. The water pollution is happening. The industries which are mainly responsible for water pollution are paper, pulp, chemical industry, textiles, dyeing, petroleum refineries, tanneries, and electroplating industries. All are creating water pollution. And coming to thermal pollution. Thermal pollution of water occurs when hot water from the factories and thermal plants is drained into rivers and ponds before cooling. That kind of pollution is called thermal pollution. And coming to the noise pollution. The noise pollution is propagating of noise which is harmful impact on the activity of the human and animal life. It results in irritation among us, it increases anger among us, it causes hearing impairment, it is increasing the heart rate and the blood pressures because of noise pollution. So there are 4 different types of pollutions which are happening due to industrial pollutions. How to control the environmental degradation? Here are some of the ways through which the industrial pollution can be reduced. What are the ways that industries can follow to reduce the industrial pollution? They are minimizing the use of water by reusing and recycling it. The water can be treated, it can be used, and it can be reused after treatment. That will help for the recycling process. Harvesting rainwater to meet water requirements. We need to have harvesting rainwater plants or that set up on every house so that we can get the rainwater directly into our taps or tankas. Treating hot water and effluents before they are released into the rivers and ponds, because hot water causes thermal pollution and the effluents creates water pollution. So in order to reduce this pollution, we can treat the water we can cool the hot water and we can clean the water and reduce the chemical waste in that and release it into the rivers and ponds. Particulate matter in the air that can be reduced by fitting smoke stacks to the factories where we have electrostatic precipitators, fabric filters, scrubbers and inertial separators. So wherever we have these kind of industries, we can put the smoke stacks to reduce the air pollution. And smoke also can be reduced by using oil and gas instead of coal in factories. So we can have to replace coal with oil and gas machinery in the factories. And coming to the machinery, it can be redesigned in such a way that it increase the energy efficiency and reduce the noise. So all the machinery has to be redesigned so that they produce less noise and they be more efficient. So there are few steps which the industries can follow to reduce the pollution. One is using the water and recycling it and reusing it, having harvesting rainwater, treating hot water, particularly fitting smokestacks, and instead of using coal, we can use oil or gas instead to reduce the smoke, and machines to be redesigned to increase energy efficiency and reduce noise. These are the few steps which can be taken to control the environmental degradation. So in this video, we learned about what is the importance of manufacturing, industrial location, the factors that influence the industrial location, agro-based industries, mineral-based industries, fertilizer industry, cement industry, automobile industry, IT industry, what are the factors or what are the types of pollutions we have, and what are the steps that can be taken to reduce the environmental degradation. That's all we have in this chapter. Please subscribe. Thank you.